within the business as well. So now she has a consulting business. She's worked with over 100 property management and real estate offices. Just helping with better practices, training, system implementation, that kind of thing. I heard she spoke at the PM Growth Summit that we went to in January. That was where I kind of came across her, and I engaged a couple, maybe 2-3 months ago with her sales training program. It's been really good for me. I've been able to just kind of get some better systems there, and as I work towards a possible hire there, she's helped a ton with just improving that and tightening things up and getting better, across the board. So excited to hear what she has today for us.
Excellent. Thank you, Brandon. Kasey, are you there?
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Excellent. You should be able to share your screen if you'd like.
Mm-hmm.
It is bright and early for you. Is it 1 in the morning or is it 2?
2 a.m. for me.
2 a.m. Thank you for getting up and spending your Tuesday morning with us Monday morning.
You're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for the introduction, Brandon. Have I still got everyone on the call?
Yep.
Sorry, it just went blank there. So thank you, everyone. And this morning I'd like to cover with you and work through some lead generation. And as Aaron shared earlier, I sent through a PDF document which has just got some questions that we're going to work through this morning. And it also has an Excel spreadsheet there which we'll get to the end of the session, but that's going to be utilised more for you following this session and looking at the different activities that you will start to incorporate in your business development property management company, and how we need to look at those lead generation activities when we're doing them. So it's just a little tracker for you just to keep you accountable as you're starting to introduce these activities in. So I do like to make sure that I keep the training sessions very interactive. So please do at any time. If you have any questions, please note them into your chat section there. Aaron's monitoring those for me and will certainly ask me those questions and stop me throughout if you certainly do. So please feel welcome to add those in. So lead generation, as I suggested, and we're going to be going through lots of different key areas that has certainly not only worked for me, but for other businesses and companies that I'm working in. So the first thing that I would like for us is to go through some of those questions that we've got there on that PDF. So if you do have that available with you, that would be great. I've got it there so you can write different notes down as I'm certainly sharing ideas. And this is certainly about all of you coming together as well. So if you do have other suggestions, please bring them to the table. But I like to always start by assessing and analysing your business plan and what your growth strategies are, and looking at the inside of your business first before we start to go and look at different prospecting methods. So that's what we're going to do this morning first. Some of you may have the answers, some of you may not. So let's workshop this together and see what those responses are. So we want to work through what are all of the different types of opportunities that we have. So we want to look at, I'm sorry, just bring these up for you. Okay, we want to look at what it is that you actually offer. So I want you to consider how in which you would on-sell those services. When talking to new business clients, how do you explain what it is that you offer? So that's the first question that you need to ask yourself. What are our products and services? The second question is, how is your current market environment? So when we're looking at that question, we're trying to determine where do we fit in that market? What is the current rental environment like? Are we leasing homes fairly fast? Is the market buoyant? Is it fairly slow? So we need to be able to determine what exactly is happening to understand how our growth strategy can be implemented. The third question is, what is your target market? So who in fact are we targeting here? What is the quality and the type of the home or door that you're looking at bringing on into your company? Have you thought about what your marketing strategy is? Do you have a marketing strategy currently in place? And what I mean by that is, have we also budgeted in regards to that? Have we got some money aside where we know exactly how much we're spending each month on those marketing ideas? And exactly what are those marketing ideas? Are we measuring and tracking what of those marketing ideas are currently working and what isn't working? Okay. What are the growth opportunities in your area? So do we actually know how many private landlords or how many homes are being leased by owner directly? How many are already being managed by other property management companies? How many other property management companies are in your located area? How many homes are in your located area? So what exactly are those opportunities out there for you? What does your listing presentation look like? And I know in my last session with Brandon, we were working through that and looking at different ways we could improve the content of a pre-listing kit or a property management services profile. What does it look like? Is all the information in there that you need in that pre-list to be able to email that across to those prospective customers, to give them enough of a picture to entice them to continue to want to do business with you and engage your services? Is that an area that we need to look at and improve on? Is it also potentially an area when you're doing your face-to-face presentations that you need to improve your dialogue around how you're presenting what it is that you offer? Do you have the right systems and procedures in place? And this is a really big one for me. It's something that I'm actually very passionate about. And having run my own property management company, I spent the first 6 months really focusing on all of these key areas and answering these different questions to make sure that my company was set up and the foundations were right first before I started to implement my growth plan. And a part of that was making sure that I had the right resource tools in place. And it was just as simple as making sure that I had templated forms and emails to make things easier for whether or not it was myself or another team member, that if an opportunity presented themselves, that we were able to effectively communicate and efficiently communicate without thinking, oh, what should we write to this person, or what document do I need to send them, etc. So I really spent the time to make sure that all of those foundations and tools were in place and were working very well and streamlined in my business before I did start to grow. So a key point there to make is refine those, constantly keep working on them to improve what you're doing. Is the current structure going to allow for optimum performance? And what I mean by that question is, how many team members have you got? What role do each of those team members play? Is that the right structure for your business now and for where it needs to go to once you start implementing your growth plan? If we're looking at all of the different prospecting activities today, in implementing just one or two of those, you need to start to consider what will the results be from those in your area, and have I got enough staff on board right now in order to justify for that growth? Am I going to be able to satisfy the needs and wants and expectations of my clients and customers when I'm bringing on that growth? And have I got the right people sitting in the right chairs? So all of those things are really important when we're looking at the structure. And last of all is, does our website have all of the information on there that we need? And I did see earlier in the session that you had the rental appraisal section being added, which is fantastic there, Aaron. So I think it's really important to make sure that in everything that we're doing, we're consistently evolving and we're consistently looking at those tools and resources that we have and making sure they are the right fit for our business. So the reason I wanted to share those questions with you and to give you that as a handout and a worksheet is so that you can actually start to note down some of these key areas that you're doing now and some of the things that you may need to consider and improve, which of course you're going to get some different ideas throughout this morning's training session, but of course things may come to you as well later on. So that is going to be a working document for you, and I'm absolutely more than happy to connect with any one of you at any time if you have any continual questions about that. So let's move on. The next thing that is really important is for you to analyze in your business is your SWOT. So if you haven't already done one of these for your individual businesses, I highly encourage you to certainly look at that. If you're at a stage in your business where you've got, for example, 100 doors under management already, and your plan is to get to 200, it's really important to look at what were the strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats to get you to the 100, and now what do we need to do and reanalyze that to get to 200. So this, again, is also a fantastic working document to consider what may have been a strength in your business for the last 1 to 2 years, and what is it that may be a weakness still that we need to improve on in order to be able to make that a strength to get those results that we need. So if you haven't done one of these analysis and assessments lately within your business, and of course with yourself as an individual, to determine potentially where your own blockages are, I really encourage you to do so. It's something that I like to do on myself every 6 months as an individual, to constantly review where I'm going as a person. And I like to encourage the clients that I'm coaching with to make sure that they are looking at these 4 boxes all of the time. And that's what we look at and we work towards together. To make sure that we are handling our prospecting and looking at what it is that we need to do every day, of course we need to have a plan. So we absolutely have to have a set schedule before we start to look at prospecting. And as a part of that strategy, it's making sure that you're dedicating enough time to this particular area and that you've got your focus on it at that time as well. So there's, nothing more annoying for you to want to put all these growth plans in place, but it's not being able to effectively manage the inquiry coming in or the leads coming in, your referrals coming in, because you haven't got your schedule in place. You haven't got your plan of attack, because I'm sure that a lot of you have other tasks and responsibilities within your business as well. So it's really important to make sure that you've got dedicated time set aside, and that and if that even just has to start with an hour a day to start with, it's getting that starting point, and it's continually working to grow on that starting point and be consistent with it. So it's definitely hard when prospecting, because in some of the activities that I'll share with you, it may not deliver instant and immediate results, but it is about the consistency and the attitude of never giving up, to make sure that you're consistently delivering that message out there to continue a brand awareness for yourself as an individual, and for Key Renter Property Management as a company, and for your own company. And it's important to be consistent in those messages and keep delivering. If we look at certain prospecting where we have, for example, flyer marketing, or we could be doing door hangers, which I'll show you some examples of those. It's if we started to implement that as a task, and then if we let it slip away because something else we felt became more of a priority, we're not going to be delivering a consistent awareness to the public. So it's really important that you set a focus, and it's looking at it as priority levels. What should I be doing immediately now as prospecting tools to generate more leads in my business? Which one of those are actually really important for me to do, and which ones may not be so important that I need to do them, but they're not going to be on the top of the priority list. So as we're working through this today, make a note of that, as to some that you might already be doing, some we might need to fine tune and streamline a little better, and some we may not be doing at all, which we can certainly introduce in. A question I would like to ask you all and for you to think about is, what would consumers say about the customer experience that you offer? And it's something that I think is really important for us all to consider, because we can utilize the words customer service, and I think they can be used quite loosely in some regard, And I think overall now it's about the consumer looking at what is this total experience I'm going to get when I deal with your company. What is it that they're going to specifically say about you? What is it that they're telling friends and family about you and your company? How are they going to rate you? So,
yes. Is this both interaction as well as reviews and website experience, kind of all three of those, or even more than that?
I think it's actually more than that. It's putting those three together, but it's actually more than that. I think it's regarding your communication delivery. It's how your company is represented by your staff. So it's then a brand awareness. I think it's everything collated together. It's the satisfaction that the consumers will get by dealing with you. Okay, so reviews definitely have a big part of it. I think the first thing is to do, and for any dog lovers there, I actually love this photo. I think I shared it at the PM Grow Summit as well. I just think it's really, really capturing. And the reason is because I always like to start with your existing customers by asking them these questions. So it's about listening to them first to determine what they're thinking about your experience, to know where we need to start to improve that. So I'm going to share some basic questions with you that we could be starting to ask our existing customers. That it also can include your tenants as well, and it also can include your vendors, okay? So just some examples here for you is, how would you rate our overall performance? Are you happy with the service you're receiving from our property management company? Are we meeting your expectations around communication? Have we delivered on what we've promised? Have you been satisfied with how the property management team have handled any issues relating to your investment? Is there anything you feel we could be doing better? And of course, would you recommend our property management services to others?
When would you be asking these questions, or I guess surveying these questions with your clients?
Yeah, so I would be doing this at several touch points and transitional points. So in regards to the tenants as an example, I think it's really important that we start to consider surveying and asking some of these questions following a showing. So when we're doing our follow-up with those tenants to determine whether or not that home was suitable for them, and if it's something that they're going to apply for, is asking them some of these questions. You know, how has the service been so far? Have you been satisfied with how we've dealt with your inquiry and in certainly allowing you to view this home? So there's that touch point as an example to survey your tenants. It would then be once, of course, the tenant becomes a client and actually does move in. And then in the same regard, with a prospective new landlord for you, is looking at how was our listing presentation? How did we present our services to you? So we would be doing that following an appointment to them once they've signed up the business, or potentially not signed up the business, but you might want to know in that transitional phase before they're ready to sign, was there something we could have done better in delivering our services and sharing what our services are once they become a client. And then I would start to consistently do these at phases. So when I was actually doing the role of BDM and I was growing my own company, I had customer service touch points as a director at the first month of their engagement. And the questions around that were, you know, how have you found the team so far? And certainly, have they been helpful in achieving the desired results for you in the first month? You know, do you have any questions regarding your account statement? So the statement that we provide to you that shows you obviously your income and expenditure for the month. Have you got any questions around that I could go through with you? Is there anything else that we could be doing for you right now to improve the service, etc.? So I would do that after a month. I then would actually make the next call after we had done our first inspection of the home, routine inspection, which here in Australia we're able to do quarterly inspections. So we, every 3 months, we would actually go into the property. We are allowed to. It's your choice if you wish to do it that way. But we certainly would do that on a new tenancy. And it would be after that touch point with the landlord that I would say, I can see that the team have done the first routine inspection. Are you satisfied with that? So it's different times, and I think it's about making sure that you're meeting those expectations with your clients at those different touch points. So then if there are any issues that may arise or they're not satisfied for whatever reason, you're being able to be proactive with the solutions at that time, instead of it becoming something that they might stew on later down the track and not bring to your attention. Does that answer your question, Aaron?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So I like to certainly do this as a part of our prospecting, because the reason we certainly ask that bottom question is that we need to know, have they got friends, families, acquaintances, colleagues, and for themselves, have we not picked up that they have multiple homes themselves? Have they got a multiple portfolio? Or are they considering looking at that as well? So I think it's important to always have that last question on top of mind in every transitional touch point that we're having. The new face of word of mouth marketing, of course, is reviews, and it's becoming such a big area now. And I've been doing lots of research myself around statistics, but 79% of people will actually share a bad experience, opposed to 72% sharing a good experience. So this is why it's really important to understand right now what your clients and customers feel about your business and the experience that you're delivering right now. Because what we want to do is we want to be able to showcase in this new world of reviews exactly what it is that you do well. Okay, so it's really important to be constantly asking for those reviews, and don't be afraid to ask. So one little area where we can do it softly, of course, is by putting the links to certain review pages on your bottoms of your email signatures. You can certainly look at having that and capturing that information through your website as well. I've found that the email signature is working quite well for my clients, because it's just got a direct link there. They are asking all of the time because of the emails going out all of the time. And it's not so much confrontational for the client if they're not feeling comfortable in actually writing that review. So making sure that we are reviewing everything that we're doing, and making sure that it becomes an expectation as a part of our company, not an option. So if we look at everything that we do, every time we do that transaction with that tenant and they move into that property, ask them to write a review on the different platforms in regards to how the experience was dealing with your company. Every landlord, every meeting that you have, we'd love for you to share on our, our Facebook page, share on our website, share across other mediums, share on our Google link. It also obviously helps with your Google Analytics, the more reviews that you have. And once it gets closer to 50 reviews, it starts to really showcase a trust and credibility within your brand as to really where you actually sit from a review point of view as well. So constantly be asking for reviews. If you're not, certainly introduce that into your strategy with those transitional touch points with your clients and customers.
Totally agree with that. If I could just, I encourage all of you to spend 5 minutes a week thinking about and emailing, texting people that are your raving fans that can leave you a review. All that is a 5-minute investment every single week to go and do just that simple thing. Absolutely.
And I think it's just as important too, and if I can touch on, if as a part of that, and not suggesting that we are getting negative reviews, but if we're getting some constructive criticism at all, I think it's really important that we have those as well, just as important it is to have positive reviews. And it's the way in which we handle that constructive negative review as well, and making sure that we don't specifically handle it in whatever forum it's been presented to us, but it's the actually acknowledgement of that negative review, by saying, you know, thank you for sharing that feedback, and we apologize that you've had that experience, and we will be personally in touch to work through this with you and come up with a solution, or, you know, talk to you about how we can improve that so that it certainly doesn't occur in the future. So I think it's just as important to be able to be seen from a public perspective about how you operate very, very well, but then also in return, how you actually handle constructive criticism that's presented to you as well. Next area we're going to look at, so if we're looking at the fact that we've now surveyed our clients and customers, and we're doing that at different transitional touch points, we're spending that 5 minutes a day by asking our raving fans to put reviews across those forums. So we've already spoken about 2 different areas that can actually start our prospecting. Okay, so there's little touch points there across those 2 key areas where leads can start to come through just by, you know, asking specific questions. And it is those, you know, do you have any other properties that we can look after? Do your friends or family? And of course, writing those reviews so then you get indirect referrals through. So first key location in regards to also generating your leads online, and one that I found works really well, is to get involved with different forums across the social media platforms. So it's being really present in those forums, and it's being seen as the property management expert in your particular location. And it might be that it could be like buy, swap and sell pages. It could be different other community pages that are in your area. They don't specifically have to relate to real estate at all. It's the fact that they might have somebody on there that says, hey, I'm looking for a particular property, or I'm looking to rent out my home. There could be different questions that might come out of that forum where people are trying to get different recommendations. So if you're a part of those forums, it allows you to be the person who can respond accordingly and show them that you're an expert as well, and that you're happy to certainly help them. So that's one area where we can start to get our leads online, is looking at that social media platform. The other is working your LinkedIn profile. If you haven't got a LinkedIn profile, I highly encourage you to set one up. It's the best B2B business networking as an online forum. It allows you to connect in a different way, setting up your meetings, you know, connecting with them to say, you know, I'd love to meet with you and come and determine what it is, products and services that you're offering that my clients and customers may get benefit from as well. So that was an area that worked very well for me. Another area, of course, is your B&I Business Networking International groups, if any of you are a part of those. For me, that particular area, just purely because of my location, I didn't capture as many leads as I did by doing it via the LinkedIn profiling and working my B2B connections that way. But in saying that, I've had clients that have had some great success by joining the B&I network and being a part of that and really dedicating their time in that they've been able to grow. Where I found it was successful for me was that I was able to capture new vendors for my business, which I was able to set up more of a referral network with them, to be able to have them start to refer business to me. And it was things where they would go into other properties. They might have been working with a homeowner who, of course, was either considering selling or leasing their home, and they were there doing particular work for them in the preparation. So that particular vendor would call me and say, this person's a hot lead right now, you need to give them a call. They've just advised me this is their situation. So I found by just building those different types of networks is where I just started to get indirect leads and referrals coming into the business. And so it's really important to be looking at where those leads are coming from. It's your reviews online, it's your social media platforms, it's your LinkedIn, and of course it's looking at the likes of Instagram as well now, where the millennials are certainly, that's the area where millennials are certainly focused more on. Instagram, it's your video chats, and if it's looking at how you showcase the current properties that you have for lease, it's determining, showcasing them on that platform is allowing you to capture a new kind of tenant market as well. And it's great to be able to provide statistics specifically to any of the leads that you've already got to say, I'm currently working with 5 prospective parties, and this is the type of property that they're looking for. I can see through engagement through our online platforms that they are looking and engaging in this type of property. So this is your home, and I'd really like to be able to show them your home. Can we chat further about our property management services and see whether or not we can match the two of you together? So it's looking at that and having the right type of dialogue around introducing those types of forums as well into your business. With regards to social media, really important that we're posting valuable content. This is really important, just as important as it is to showcase to them your statistics. So it's looking at areas like how many properties you are leasing in your area compared to your competitors. How fast are you leasing those properties compared to your competitors? The quality of the information that you provide is really important, and it's valuable in regards to, what are other things that are important to them in their investment property? There's different tax offsets for them. There's different areas. It could be that you might want to showcase a vendor to them that maybe you're trying to push to your clients in your certain location, that it's important to get servicing across the heating elements once a year. It could be that we need to look at different gardening aspects in particular locations. So it's looking at how you can showcase what it is that you do, but in an indirect way, without directly saying you should bring your property over to our company, and we're professional in what we do, and we'd like to help you. So without specifically saying those direct words, it's showcasing content to them that they can see that's beneficial, and showcases why you are professional and why you are the expert and why they should make that decision. Okay, so it's bringing those leads directly to you. Another key area is getting involved in the community. And certainly that's where your BNI and your Chamber of Commerce type of chapters certainly assist with that by getting involved. But it's also looking at other areas of networking as well. So it's attending other different networking events. If there's breakfast events for you to get involved in, I encourage you to attend to them. Look at different other areas and different events that are showcased by other industries, and start to get involved in some of those events as well. Get in contact with them and see if you can have an invitation to attend one and showcase what it is that your services are. Look at holding investor evenings in your area, and that's bringing in some of your other vendors as well. That's maybe having a broker there. It's having an insurance broker, a mortgage broker, and putting on together a little investor evening. It's something that you might look at doing once a quarter. I did, where I invited some of my existing clients. I certainly put the invitation out to all of them. Of course, some not always are local, so not everyone is going to come, but it's putting it out there for them. It's also then inviting key and new customers into the area. It's looking at your prospects you've got in your database. So it's inviting everyone along, showcasing what it is that you do as well. And everyone just has, 10 to 15 minutes of sharing how they can actually help. So it could just be the fact that maybe they're not too sure whether leasing their home or selling their home is the best decision for them. So by having a broker there to share how the market is, and by you sharing how the rental market is, it's going to be informative for them to be able to make a decision. So it's about showcasing that you're a part of that community as well. It's other different events that you can certainly consider putting on. And one I did that worked very well for me was involving my vendors, as I suggested before. And I actually used to do monthly catch-ups with my vendors, where they would be invited to my office, where we would actually put on some drinks and some food for them on a Friday afternoon. And it was purely to say thank you, not only for them referring business to us, but for also looking after our clients and our customers professionally. And it was something that I was doing that no other agency in the area was doing. And as a part of that strategy as well, it was building those networks with them and building the relationship so they felt comfortable to continue to refer business to us. And of course, I was asking the question of our vendors of, if you have rental properties in this area, why is this company not managing them for you? So it was just different questions. Do you have friends and family that have got rental properties where they would benefit from our services also? So it was just, no matter what it was that I did across all of these different areas, I was consistently asking those questions all of the time. So there's so many different ways that you can get involved in your community and involve other people that you're working with to get involved in the community with you. Door hangers. So I've been chatting with Brendan about the introduction of these, certainly in his area. So I know it's certainly been on our coaching program and our action task plan as we've been working through over the last couple of months. But this is an area that worked very well for me. So I know a little different, obviously, there for you. Here in Australia, we're able to actually walk up to the home and place it into the mailbox. Or if we're talking to the people out the front, we can, personally hand deliver it, etc. And I found that strategy worked very well for me. I did it across every aspect of every time we listed a new home in the area for rent. And of course, when we listed that home from a sales perspective, because I was doing both sales and rentals. And I personally delivered these myself. And I did that so that I could talk to people within the community. So I was then able to hand deliver that, have the conversation of, just letting you know, we've just listed next door, the sign's going to go up tomorrow, the for lease sign. So if you know of anyone looking to move to the area, please let them know that the property is coming available for rent. That started to engage conversations around, how much do you have it listed for, Kasey? Maybe how much would my property be worth, do you think? So I'd say, I'm more than happy to, just pop my head in now. If you'd like me to, I can have a quick look for 5 minutes, and then I can go back and do some research and present a comparative market report to determine where your property sits. So I was able to capture different leads by being present like that in the community and hand delivering these types of cards. I also did it when we then leased the property. So it was, we've listed it, and then I would hopefully come back in a short period of time and say, now we've leased that property. And that's again with, so what did you get the price? So it just started to constantly have the neighbours in the area talk to me about what was happening in regards to the rental market as well.
And guys, if you want any samples of these, we have a couple different designs. If you're wanting to get some different door hangers or want to see the designs that we have, let us know. If you want something a little bit different, we can get you something a little bit different as well.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Here's a couple of examples of some that we've done in Australia. So not so much door hangers, they're more of a sort of flyer type, which is, presented on hard sort of cardboard material as well. And generally on the back of the particular flyer, we would have, certain testimonials or share particular reviews that any of our customers and clients have shared with us. So very, very simple. And again, you may have different designs as well, Aaron, around these and different things that they can certainly put on. And as you can see, we've got our Find Us on Facebook link and all those types of things. So just making sure with everything that we're doing and all the different touch points that we are leading people back to our websites and our social media platforms and asking for those reviews.
Yep, and we've got a few examples of these. If you are going to use just listed, talk with Nate. We've got a few different postcard companies that we would recommend, just so you're not printing them and shipping them out. They'll print them, ship it, do all of that. Fairly inexpensive. So if you're looking for those services, just let us know as well.
Another key area is, of course, is your for rent by owners, and what's the way we can capture that? And of course, it's maybe hard because not in every aspect do you know. So of course, you need to be aware of other properties that are suddenly coming onto the market for rent. So can I ask a question if we do put signs like this up out the front of the property?
Yes, we do. And so
Good.
usually not if it's a nice one, like a really nice one, we'll put a large for rent sign similar to the for sale sign or the for rent sign that's here. Most of them are going to be like a corrugated plastic sign that we kind of stick in the ground. And so it just depends upon if it's a high-end unit, we're going to put a little nicer for rent sign on that front lawn.
Yeah, fantastic. And would you see for rent by owners doing that as well? If they are looking at renting the property themselves, would they certainly do a sign also, or is it something that's not as common?
Yeah, no, I would say for the most part, most of them do, and it'll either look like something similar to this for rent by owner with the phone number, or just for rent and then a phone number on it. But it's you can kind of tell it's by owner just because all it is just a for rent sign. Most state laws throughout the country do require, if you are associated with a brokerage, it has to be displayed. The consumer has to be able to discern that you're with a real estate brokerage or a property management brokerage, and so you'll be able to tell if it's by owner or if it's a property management company or real estate company.
Great, fantastic. So I'm really pleased to hear that because it was, again, a strategy that worked very well for me. And of course, we're out and about all of the time. And that's a part of what we need to do when considering these growth strategies is if we're seeing these signs, are we noting them down? And if there's a phone number on them, are we ringing those owners and wanting to share the services that we're offering, asking, is there anything that you can do to help them? You know, how are they going with finding a suitable tenant, etc. So that's your lead in. So if you're seeing those signs around and you're being able to capture a number, that is one of the key points or key leads that you should be looking at, and the consistency of following that person up to showcase why they should be using a professional property management company now opposed to doing it themselves. Another area is, of course, from the tenancy application. So I know that a lot of this is outsourced and it's done by other companies, but where possible, if you can capture that information to determine where that tenant has come from previously. So it may be that they were renting from an owner direct previously. And of course, you're going to have that owner's name and that phone number and potentially even an email address. So again, we need to look at that data that is being presented to you by calling that person to say, well, I can see that this tenant is now deciding to move out of the property that they're renting from you directly. So maybe you'd like some assistance also in us finding a suitable tenant for you. Have you thought about engaging a professional property management company opposed to doing it yourself? So again, that's another way of looking at leads that are right under your nose, so to speak, that you can start to have engaging conversations with. So I would classify those as definitely warm leads because you know what it is. They're looking for somebody to rent their home and they've had somebody move out. So that's definitely a warm lead for you to consider if it's an option that you're not already doing. The biggest thing I think with prospecting is the fact that we need to follow them up. There is absolutely no point in considering doing all of these different ideas and implementing them into your company and your daily structure and plan if we're also not going to follow them up. And I'm going to share with you a bit of a follow-up process that I used to utilize over a 60-day period, which I found worked very well for me. Yes, I am a salesperson, but I like to treat others how I like to be treated in that sales aspect. And it's just the same as if I'm walking into a retail sales environment. And if that retail sales lady is straight on me, wanting to sell me something, I'm not interested. And I generally tend to leave the store straight away. It's not how I like to be dealt with in that environment. I like to be able to look around, and if I'm wishing to buy something, that's certainly when I, will present that. So when I'm looking at this role, I think it's really important that we understand who our clients are as well. And I think you can gauge that by the way in which that person communicates with you in the first stage. So, are they somebody who just straight away on an email inquiry to you says, I've got a property that I'm thinking of renting out, what's your charges? So you know that straight away they're going to be focused on that. And there hasn't been any, it's not a long-winded email. They haven't put a lot of detail into that. They've just gone, it's 4-bedroom, it's 2-bathroom, and it's got this, and I need a price. So it's understanding that and knowing how to communicate back to that person. So as a part of your follow-up, it's looking at ways to do that more effectively to get the best results. So it's not only just looking at your customers, but maybe thinking a little outside of the box about how you actually can follow up on these leads. So some examples for you is to look at things like thank you cards for every time that you're actually done an evaluation on their property, or even to the point of, thank you for your time over the phone and allowing me to introduce our services. Send a thank you card, send that thank you card as an e-card on an email. Something like that can just be a little bit more personalized, and maybe they haven't received that from another company if they've certainly made several inquiries. Another one that I found worked very well was, and you'll see I've got it noted there at day 14, was a video SMS to clients. So I had some pre-recorded. Where possible, I would try to make it personalised, by saying, for example, hi Aaron, it was lovely to speak with you over the phone today. Thank you for your time. I have now emailed you through the pre-listing information of our services. I'm looking forward to speaking to you on Wednesday at 4:00. And in the meantime, though, if you have any questions about that information, please feel welcome to give me a call. And that was actually in a video SMS that I used to send that. So opposed to actually making it as a telephone call. So I try to think of just different ways and different touch points for individual clients. And about how I was going to get better conversion from all of those leads that I was doing. So thinking outside of the box in your follow-up, I think is really important, but the consistency. So when you say you're going to call them back, we need to call them back. If we say we're going to get them information by end of the day, we need to come to the party and ensure that we do that. It's really, really important. But an example here of an action plan for you, which you can start to introduce. And purely day one is, of course, that introduction email. Thank you for your time, etc. Include things like a link to sign up to your blogs, or any information that you might share through your website as well, to keep them engaging with your company. Okay, so if you do have anything like that, where they can get a monthly newsletter that's automatically emailed to them, or an email marketing campaign that you might have set up that's directed through your website, but it's giving them valuable information consistently on an email. Anything like that I think is really important. Send it through as a link as well as a part of that, just to keep them as touch points with your company. Day 7, call that client as a follow-up on that introduction email. Was there anything within our services there that specifically you had any questions on? And of course the end result here is to make sure that we get that appointment to secure them. Okay, sometimes these can happen quite quickly. What I found was that it was generally a 60-day cycle for me in all of the different touch points. So about 8 touch points I used to have in order for them to make their decision. Okay, it may be slightly different for you over there, but I found that it was that 60 days allowed me to really build a relationship with these people in order to determine whether or not we wanted to have them as clients, obviously, of our business as well. And of course, them in return, making sure that we were the right company for them. Day 10 is second email with a specific call to action. What I mean by that, it could be something that you're offering. It could be that you want to showcase the fact that you've got a customer service guarantee, as an example. It could be the fact that you have leased so many properties in their particular area of where their home is. So it's about giving them some statistics to have a call to action, to want to connect with you again. And again, looking at different links to your social media pages so that they can see the reviews, constantly be pushing that out to showcase why it is that they should be choosing you. Video SMSing to your clients, looking at different market stats. The newsletter, of course, would automatically go out, or a blog to them if they've signed up to that. And day 45 generally was around the time where I found that's when the client said, okay, we want you to come speak to us, bring the paperwork, we're ready to go ahead. And then, of course, we would conduct the appointment. So I think it's really important to look at those prospecting ideas that I've shared with you and think, what's the action plan for me now? How do I schedule them into my calendar? And then once I start these activities, once I start to get these new leads in from that prospecting, what's my action plan? How should I follow them up in order to get the best conversion? Some different call to action phrases as well that I wanted to share with you, which you could be utilizing in your dialogue or in any of the emails, etc., that you'd like, any of your communication. It's, would you like to achieve maximum returns on your investment with 6-month rent reviews? Would you like to receive daily updates throughout the leasing period? So what you're doing is you're asking them direct questions to direct them back to the services that you provide. Would you like to receive your routine inspection report in video format? Would you like peace of mind knowing that your property management company offers a service guarantee? So just different things that those specific 4 action phrases certainly were key points for me, in the fact that I wanted to showcase that we were always making sure that we were achieving the best rental return for them where possible. Depending obviously on the market conditions at the time, but we wanted to showcase that was a focus for us. We also wanted to showcase that how we kept in contact with them and what our communication was throughout the time when they were trying to lease a property and we were trying to find the most suitable tenant for them, to reduce any vacancy periods, of course. We also wanted to highlight to them how different we were across that routine inspection platform. So we were the only company at the time who were doing video walkthrough inspections. So I did see at the PM Grow Summit that there's some applications available where there's 360 cameras and all, and I'm sure that you've got different companies in the States that can certainly offer some of these different formats. We're very limited here in Australia, but I introduced it and I was the first company in my particular location that did so, which it got people talking. So by doing some of these different things and thinking outside of the box with your prospecting as well, and the services that you provide as a property management company is going to make you stand out. So we can all do things the same, and what is involved in managing a property, it's all the same tasks. And the way in which we sell those services is all of the same. What we need to do is think about how can we showcase how we slightly do it differently, okay? So from this, what I'd like to finish off with you is about setting your weekly goals as a part of this. Again, is really important. So I spoke about at the beginning about your scheduling, okay, and having that in your daily plan. And now you need to look at the goals. So we need to be targeting and looking at what are those daily tasks and rituals that I'm going to do. What are the things that I know that I need to do daily in order to get the results that I need to take my company from 100 doors to 200? Is my profiling right? Is the brand awareness right? Where is my target audience? So every week we need to be looking at this. What new referral partners am I going to speak to this week? What are new brand highlight techniques that I'm going to work on? What are some of the new prospecting activities that I'm going to do this week? So it's about looking at what they are, what the results are and what your goals are going to be for the next week. So it's about looking at that and setting that out as a part of your plan. And so that's where I wanted to share with you the spreadsheet, so that you have got that there now, that you can actually list down. I've listed there for you lots of the different prospecting activities that I've spoken about as well. There's a few extras on there for you as an extra bonus, but it's there for you to now be able to utilize and start to work through what your plan of attack's going to be, and start to utilize that spreadsheet of saying, well, today I'm going to do these activities. Start to monitor now and measure what you are doing and the success you're getting from those activities. And you will then start to see what is working really well for you and what isn't, and what you might need to fine tune. So as Brandon did mention, I am doing some coaching with him. So I just wanted to share with you some of the package that I do have on offer. Thank you, Aaron, for allowing me to certainly be a part of this training with Key Renter Management. So it's fantastic that you've invited me. So thank you very much for that opportunity. But yeah, so I'm doing, there's a couple of different programs that I certainly have available. We can do a 6-week accountability program. And maybe it's just to kind of accelerate what you're doing, start to look at these activities and get a plan of attack in place for you. Or we can look at the ultimate coaching program, which is what I'm doing with Brandon, where we get to catch up every fortnight, and we set action plans for those fortnights, and I keep Brandon and the team accountable on what we're achieving and what we need to do to introduce into his company to get them to where they need to be.
So we offer you guys coaching as well from either myself, Nate, other people here at the office. If you're wanting somebody to help coach you outside of the office, which I also recommend depending upon where you are in your business, and if you are making any money or if you have the money to invest in it, your business. This is definitely an investment in your business one way or another, to help you grow your business. So does anybody have any questions for Kasey as far as what she's gone through? In any of the slides, anything like that?
Yeah. So for a whole that day, just off the top of my head, you're going to be, probably about 2,200 to 2,500 somewhere in there. And so you're going to.
Anybody? Doesn't sound like it there. I want to thank you for staying awake and coming to being able to be a part of the Key Renter training today. Thank you for that. And if you guys want to reach out to her directly, the email that I sent out yesterday morning has her email address in there as well as her phone number. It'd probably be easier to email first. Feel free to reach out to her directly. You don't need to go through anybody here. You can reach out to Kasey directly and talk to her about any of her coaching programs or anything else that she has discussed today. Again, I want to thank you for doing that. Thank you, Brandon, for arranging this call today. So appreciate that. And want to just let everybody know that I will be gone Thursday, Friday this week. But we will continue on all of our other calls Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Anything